Yeah, I do, Bruce, and thank you for that. And folks, I had the opportunity on Friday to spend about 3.5 hours with Jess Larochelle up in North Bay. And you know, if I thought that probably he deserves the Victoria Cross, and that we really as a nation need to relook how we recognized him and therefore everybody else in the Canadian Forces doing things. Any doubt, any small doubt that I might have had was dissipated on Friday. I just talking to that beautiful young man, that son of Canada. I love him dearly. It's been a long time since I've seen him. He's gone through some really, really tough times. And you know, there's no bravado in him. There's no bravado in him. He's just a soft-spoken young guy. And it was kind of funny. I said to him at the end of the 3.5 hours, I said, look, you're aware, right, of valor in the presence of the enemy and what our initiative entails. It means that we're trying to get your citation reviewed and get the extra richness of detail brought in that perhaps wasn't as clear or wasn't there at all before, and ask for an assessment that will, we hope, lead to you getting the award the Victoria Cross. And he said, you know, if that happens, he would be humbled, and that would be rewarding people or recognizing people that served with him around there. But he said, you know, it's kind of funny. He said, in an observation post, our tactics are that we don't defend an observation post. You know, if there's an individual or several individuals there, your job is to spot the enemy coming in, alert the main position, and then immediately get your ass back there and be ready to fight from the main defensive position. So he said, I didn't abandon that observation post. I actually thought I was going to be in shit. And I thought I was going to be in trouble at the end of it. And he said, here we are talking about maybe, you know, I got a star of military valor, he said, and, you know, maybe it might even change. And so it was kind of funny to watch, to listen to him talk. And, you know, just chatting to him, hey, they pull into that position on the 14th of October at Strong Point Center. And we got Willie McDonald on there, and all you guys know that Willie is a Star of Military Valor winner, and he knows where Strong Point Center is and that piece of ground and the enemy, and a great Canadian hero right there. And their platoon rolled in. They're down this section to start with. They've got the intelligence coming that they're going to get hit, and they're going to get hit very soon and by a fairly big force. Master Corporal Jeremy LeBlanc, who was on one of our shots with soldiers just a couple of weeks ago, was a section second in command for Jess's section. He said, we got to put somebody in the observation post. I can only afford to put one person up there. I don't want to designate anybody because it's going to be a rough job. Would somebody volunteer, or is there a volunteer? And Jess stuck his arm up, went into the observation post, almost immediately got hit. And in the first part of the getting hit as a platoon in Strong Point Center, got hit by that rocket propelled grenade. He slammed back against the edge of the 3-foot thick mud and wattle and straw wall that's been baked into the desert sun there for 1,000 years. It's like steel. His neck has got vertebrae shattered. His back has got vertebrae shattered. He's firing rocket launchers. He's bleeding from the ear. His retina is detached, and we don't know it for a long period, but his frontal lobe has been damaged, and that affects his memory somewhat. And he opens up with the C6 machine gun, fires down till he's got about 100 rounds left, but he wants to keep that for a last-ditch fight. He grabs the M72s and starts cranking those out. He's being attacked by what he can see from his spot, about 40 Taliban fighters, and he's zinging those M72s directly at individual Taliban fighters and literally taking them out one after the other. They're all sort of 200 yards, some of them at 400 yards, slinging fire at him the whole time. And he's doing all of that until he gets down to 2 M72s. The attack abates just a little tiny bit. Lieutenant Corby comes into his OP and says, hey, give me some covering fire. I want to come in. And Ray Corby said after, you know, I thought that Jess was dead. I didn't think anybody was alive in that observation post. It was so utterly shattered. He got in there and they talked through it. And he said, okay, I'll replace you here. And Jess said, no, let's not impose this on somebody else here. I've been through it and I'll stay. And so he stayed on for the rest of the fight. And then he got joined by one of his soldiers. And I apologize that I don't have his name right at the tip of my tongue, plus Warrant Officer Robertson, the platoon warrant officer. And they stayed with him throughout the rest of the night. So all three of them spent the night in the observation post. And then the next day, they got relieved by another platoon. Jess ended up back in the evening, back in Kandahar Airfield, and helped carry the coffin of Blake Williamson during the ramp ceremony onto the C-130 for his trip home, for his last trip home. And you listen to him talk, Matter of fact, like I said, there's no bravado. Matter of factly, huge compliments to Sergeant Darcy Tedford, who was a section commander, and but what a great mentor and what a great leader he was. Huge compliments to Master Corporal Jeremy LeBlanc, and what a great leader and what a lead by example kind of guy he was, and just kind of dished out kudos to everybody else but himself. It was just an interesting thing to sit and talk about, and to listen to that awesome Canadian son talk about the most extraordinary day, and one I believe deserves the Victoria Cross.